Yep, it's about time that we talk about the Steam Machine here. It's time for the Steam Machine review, people. I have a lot to say, but I do not. One of my biggest pet peeves. I just want to let this be known for anybody that's new or anybody that plans on watching my future videos. All my videos, I try to make them as concise and to the point as possible. I hate wasting people's time. I want you to get exactly what you clicked on for the video. All right. So I'm going to try not to rant too much. So I have a little list here and we are going to try and break it down as quick as possible, starting from the good, the bad, the ugly, and who the Steam Machine should be for. Is it worth even picking up a Steam Machine? How does it compare to many other platforms and systems that you can play on? We're going to talk about that in today's video. The Steam Machine has a great small form factor, as you guys can see here, comparing it to a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. It's extremely small. It can fit on pretty much anybody's desk setup, or if you want to have it as like a console-like experience on a couch play experience, it'll be able to fit anywhere in your setup. I love the swappable faceplates. Yes, this is the 2 TB edition of the Steam Machine, so having the 2 TB is nice. We also get essentially 3 faceplates. It comes with its own black faceplate, but if you get the 2 TB editions, you'll be able to get the fabric and the wooded faceplates, which are really cool. The wooded one is my favorite one. That's why you guys always see it. But I probably throughout the couple months, I will eventually switch over to the other ones just to change things up for my Steam Machine, which is really a nice little cosmetic effect there. I also love the RGBs on the Steam Machine. I love how it's customizable as well, so you can have it in flash different colors or be a solid one, a flashing color as well. That is also a very nice touch to the Steam Machine. And of course, yes, it having the 2 TB is such an amazing convenience. Obviously, I have over 20 games on my Steam Machine installed right now because of the 2 TB edition, and it's just such a convenience to being able to just swap between different games while having to be compromised of storage usage like the other models, which we'll get into. The Steam Machine is very quiet. It's never noticeable. I don't think I've ever heard it make a single noise at all. Like, you have a PS5, an Xbox Series X, you can hear like little buzzes and noises with it on, but the Steam Machine, I don't think I've ever heard it make a single sound yet. And I've had it for over 2.5 weeks. So yeah, I haven't heard anything on the Steam Machine. It is super quiet. And for the most part, it does stay pretty cool. Obviously, the longer you play games, obviously it starts to heat up a bit, but you don't notice it around you unless you're actually touching it physically. The setup's very easy and simple, just like a console-like experience. You essentially boot it up, you log in your Steam with your Steam account, and then you're essentially good to go. It's right there. Like everything's right there for you. All your games to download is ready to go. Very convenient, very simplistic, and that's exactly what it was advertised for and exactly the purpose for the Steam Machine. And it's just it's just a very comforting machine. I also love that the Steam controller can power the Steam Machine on by just holding the Steam Machine button right here, and it'll turn on your actual Steam Machine just like how a console would, which is really nice, very convenient, and it's, like I said, it's a console-like experience with that, and it's very nice. I also love the Steam Machine controller. I love the form factor of it. I love the buttons as well, the rumble effects. I love that you can play games wirelessly with it on your Steam Machine as well, and I love that you can use the controller on your actual desktop PC as well. It doesn't just have to be locked behind a Steam Machine, which is great as well. The performance on the Steam Machine is fairly good as well. It has a lot to offer, especially games like Red Dead Redemption. You can play games like that at 4K sometimes and get around 60 FPS, if not more. But mainly the Steam Machine is a 1080p, 1440p machine. That's where I found myself playing most of my games at, especially with my play test series that you guys can see on the channel. There's a whole bunch of games that I'm just playing at 1080p or 1440p, getting a great results, high FPS, like 60 FPS plus, So overall, really good. And I love FSR. FSR3, FSR4 on here works very, very well on the Steam Machine. No input lag, no ghosting. It's just a very seamless experience, and being able to play games at that higher resolution due to FSR and being able to have a good performance is really nice. So overall, for what the Steam Machine is with its small form factor and being able to run modern games like that is really good. And I also love the fact that you can play older games on the Steam machine. Older games is definitely the sweet spot for the Steam machine. Like I said, 1080p, 1440p, older games, you're going to be playing games very smoothly, very good, and very nice and fun. So I think that that's the main highlight for the Steam machine. It is a PC at the end of the day, so you can do things outside of gaming. You don't just have to game. You can, use it as a normal PC like you can on a desktop, which is very good. In fact, I installed Windows 11 onto my Steam machine, and we'll get into that a little bit later as to why. But it's a PC, and I was able to have the freedom to do that. The thing about PC is freedom. If you're a PC gamer, you want the freedom to be able to change the resolution of a game, change some settings, the graphical settings as well, and be able to change the operating system, which is, like I said, I did, and I put Windows 11 on my Steam machine. And that's where we start getting into the bad, and then we're going to get into the ugly, because we do have some unfortunate things with the Steam machine. And like I said, I installed Windows 11 onto my Steam machine. Now, I installed Windows 11 because I want to be able to have the freedom to play any games that I want. And we will get into that in the ugly, because it gets very ugly with the Steam machine that we're going to talk about. But yeah, I installed Windows 11, which was really cool. But the Steam support was not the best. My experience from the Steam support has not been the best. I feel like they weren't really helpful when it comes to setting up my Steam machine and some other things as well. Like I said, I got the Steam machine very early. Like, I got it essentially like as soon as the reservations opened up. I got it within a couple of days after I was selected to order my Steam machine. So I was one of the few people to have a Steam machine very early, and the launch was very weird. So when I installed Windows 11, like I said, the Steam support, they weren't really helpful when it comes to certain questions that I had for it. They weren't really giving me the answers that I needed. In fact, the drivers weren't even ready. There was no drivers for Windows 11 on the Steam machine at launch. Yes, yes, people. I had to wait an entire week in order to download the official drivers from Steam to work on Windows. So it was a bit weird. I had to do a lot of tweaking myself to get things working and operating before the official drivers came out, which was a headache. And obviously, I can imagine someone that doesn't know anything about PCs or whatever probably could feel overwhelmed with that. But luckily, now it's out and everybody can download the drivers with no problem. So that is a good thing, at least. So, and I guess I can't complain now, since there is it's fixed. Now we're going to talk about some more drawbacks, like the performance. Uh, Games can run on the Steam machine. It was advertised as the 4K 60 machine, then they changed it up to a 4K up to 60 machine, and that's just really not the case at all. Most games, like I said, you can play at 1080p and get a nice 60 FPS plus, and same with 1440p, and that's without having to turn on FSR and stuff. But if you want to play games at 4K, you're going to experience tons of lag. You're going to have to turn on tons of upscaling methods. You're going to have to lower qualities. You're going to have to do a lot of compromises in order to get games running at 4K on the Steam machine. The Steam machine, you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices with. You're not going to be able to play every modern title on the Steam machine at 4K high settings or ultra settings. No, you're not. You're not going to be able to do that at all. Ray tracing is essentially not an option for the Steam machine. If you turn on ray tracing, you can forget about having any type of smooth frame rate. It's just not a thing that you can do on the Steam machine. And and that's one thing that does worry me about the future of the Steam machine, is because games are only going to get more demanding, and some games are going to start requiring ray tracing just off rip. So when that happens, I don't know how that's going to run on the Steam machine at all. And it makes you wonder the future of the Steam machine. The future of the Steam machine is going to really heavily rely on the developers optimizing their games to run on the Steam machine itself. And that's a hit or miss. Some developers are going to take advantage of trying to optimize their game and make it Steam machine ready, and then there's some that are just not going to really care about it. And unfortunately, some games probably in the future may not even be able to play at all well on the Steam machine, especially with all the demanding stuff, unless you do some heavy downgrades to the settings, like putting everything on low and possibly maximizing your resolution at 1080p. And you might even still need some FSR, which that is definitely unfortunate. Now we're going to start getting into the ugly because I have about 2 more topics, and the things that I have to say are going to get very ugly. Okay. Now let's talk about the pricing. Okay. This was a $1,500 machine after tax, and this is the one without the controller. All right, this is the base 2 TB model. I got the controller separately. I got the controller originally when it first came out as well, so I'm glad that I got that. But yeah, in total, it came out to $1,500. Now, here's the thing. And I'm gonna say this a lot, I own a PS5, an Xbox Series X, a PS5 Pro, a very powerful gaming PC, a 4090, right? A Nintendo Switch 2, and I owned an Xbox Ally X. So obviously, me, when it comes to getting the Steam machine with its price point and for what it has to offer, I already knew coming into it that it's not going to be the best performing device, but it's still a device that's fun to play on. So for me in this case scenario, it was okay for me to get the Steam machine because I have many more options to play games on. So I'm not compromised to just playing new games on the Steam machine. I can play any game I want at 4K max settings and get over 144 FPS on my desktop. Same with my PS5 Pro. That console can perform games very well as well. And I have the Xbox Series X as well. And the Nintendo Switch 2, you don't want to sleep on that because that's a pretty good device as well when it comes to its optimization with games. And the Xbox Ally X is extremely powerful for a handheld. So, me, when it comes to getting the Steam machine at its price point, it's not too big of a deal when it comes to what value it comes with. I was already prepared for what to expect, and I'm happy with what I got overall with it. But for $1,500, if you currently don't own a PC, I can't recommend it. I can't. If you want a taste of PC gaming and you think a Steam machine should be your option, it should not be your option. Or if you own a low end or mid end PC and you're like, oh, I could really use a Steam machine to play games possibly that I can't play on my current setup, I would not recommend it either. I'm going to be one of the very few people to tell you. I don't know why a lot of people seem to say, oh, you can build a PC for $1,500 and it'll be 10 times more powerful than a Steam machine. Don't do that. Please don't listen to that. Please don't. Please don't. I'm gonna be there's a couple people on the internet that I've seen say this, and I completely agree with them. I'm gonna be one of the few to tell you, if you're gonna ever build a PC or get a pre-built PC, please, you will thank me later. I promise you. Please go high end. I know it might sound crazy in these times. The times that we're in, getting a PC is incredibly expensive. But listen to me on here. Listen to me here. Let's say you have $1,500 already ready to go. You save up another $2,500. You can get yourself a monster PC. And I promise you, you will love it. You will never have to make compromises. Everything is simplistic for you, and you will never have to worry about it. It is so satisfying to own a 4090 with a Ryzen 9 9950X CPU and being able to play every game I want, maxed out settings, with no DLSS turned on. I can just play a game. It's the most convenient thing ever, and I don't have to worry about nothing. And I do plan on upgrading this, PC as well once we get new NVIDIA graphics cards as well. So I'm gonna always stay on the high end when it comes to PC because I just love the convenience that it provides me. If you go mid-tier or low end when it comes to PC gaming, you're gonna find yourself having to make sacrifices, and then you're gonna be like, why did I spend all this money for PS5 performance? Now, don't get it twisted. I love my PS5, my day one PS5, but what would be the purpose of spending $1,500 for PS5 performance when you can have a little bit more expensive PC, but get way better performance on here and not have to worry for years on end versus having to make small little upgrades every couple of years because you need to be able to run modern games. Overall, my point and thing about all this is do not go low end or mid end on PC gaming. Go high end. I know that might be a crazy take to some people, but trust me, the overall convenience, if we're talking about convenience, is super convenient because you'll be saving yourself money and a headache at the same time if you go high end. Okay. So that's why if you're looking to get into PC gaming or if you're trying to look for an upgrade solution or a substitute, I would not recommend getting a Steam machine at that case. But if you already have a high end gaming PC, or if you're just a gamer that's like, I can care less about frame rate, I can care less about resolution. I have some old games that I want to play on a PC, and I just want that PC-like experience. The Steam machine's for you, and I would highly recommend it there. But we're not done yet because it's about to get even uglier. Because we were just talking about the price, and I still haven't finished my overall thoughts because there's still some more I have to say. My biggest complaint, and this might not be the biggest deal to some people, but it is to me. If you guys know me, here at JECS Gaming, I am the biggest Call of Duty nerd known to man. I absolutely love Call of Duty. I literally play Call of Duty every single day, okay? Because, like I said, the Steam support was not very helpful, and because the marketing around the Steam machine, it was very rushed. The Steam machine's launch felt very rushed. From the Windows drivers not being there day one, the Steam support not really being that helpful when it comes to a product that I spent $1,500 on. They weren't very helpful with trying to get, the technical side of things answered. It was marketed as a 4K 60 machine, and I get it because of the times we're living in. It has to be at $1,500. I get that. But they also said, oh, it's a PC. You have the freedom to change the operating system, like we mentioned earlier in the video, right? If you guys don't know, a lot of modern games nowadays, in particular, in my case, Black Ops 7, it has a requirement to where you need secure boot. And secure boot is only an option that you can enable within your motherboard's BIOS. Now, the Steam machine has a BIOS, kind of, but the BIOS in the Steam machine is extremely simplistic. I mean, it's only cosmetic. What I mean by that is, if you go into the BIOS of your Steam machine, all you're going to be able to do is change the lighting effects of the RGBs, the LED here, and changing up your little animation. That's it. And there might be like some other technical stuff, but long story short, you can't enable secure boot on here. So what does that mean for the Steam machine? It means any Call of Duty from Black Ops 7 moving forward, you cannot play. So I cannot play Black Ops 7 on my Steam machine. I won't be able to play Modern Warfare 4 on my Steam machine. I can only play games from Black Ops 6 downward onto my Steam machine. And that is such a letdown to me. And not just for Call of Duty, because a lot of other games, I know a lot of other popular games that have certain anti-cheats like secure boot, you can't do it. You won't be able to play now. And here's the thing. I get how convenient SteamOS is. Trust me, I do. I get it, how you can have, some better performance and stuff on the Steam machine and stuff. And I've seen a lot of comments. I know I'm starting to rant, but I have to say this stuff because this is so important. I've seen so many comments from my coverage of the Steam machine. They're like, bro, why would this dude put Windows on his Steam machine? First off, I spent the $1,500 on my Steam machine. So since it's my money, I want to be able to do whatever I want with my Steam machine. And that means putting Windows on my Steam machine because, one, I already have a super powerful gaming PC with Windows already, so I'm already used to Windows 11. Two, like I said, if you go high end on gaming, you don't need to trip about resolution and frame rate all the time. I can care less about frame rate. If I lose 15 extra frames in a game that would run 15 frames better on Steam OS, I don't care. Why? Because the games that you guys can't play on Steam OS, I can with Windows 11. Plus, if I really care that much about frame rate, I'll just turn on my 4090 and get 10 times better performance than this. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I just don't get that argument of why would he enable Windows 11 on this Steam machine? Why can't I? There's no issue. And yes, there are ways to be able to play certain anti-cheat games on Steam OS, but if you're a person that's not trying to be all techy, they don't want to go through the extra hassle or obstacle to try and get a certain game to run because of the operating system. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that. The reason why I have Windows 11 on here is because I want to be able to play games that can't originally be played on Steam OS. And yes, the Steam machine still benefits from that. I can play games like NBA 2K online on the Steam machine. I can play GTA 5 online on the Steam machine and Red Dead Redemption online and stuff like that because of Windows 11. But the main issue is secure boot. That's what the main issue is, because that's the new technology that a lot of these companies are starting to use now, that's locked behind your motherboard. And because you can't enable it on the Steam machine, you're kind of cooked. And I feel like that's so disappointing, because I feel like if that was somewhere written in text, or if they would have told me something like that during the support, when I was making a support request, or if they announced that when they officially launched revealed the Steam machine that, hey, you can't enable secure boot on it, that would have been better to know beforehand than for me to have to spend the 1,500 on it and then have to do all this stressful technology stuff and figuring things out myself, to eventually be disappointed with the fact that I can't play one of my favorite game franchises of all time on this machine because it doesn't have the secure boot option. But it's not that big. It's not the biggest deal in the world to me, because like I said, because I have a PS5, an Xbox Series X, a PS5 Pro, a powerful gaming PC, I got a powerful handheld, and I have a Switch 2, which, yes, the Switch 2 will be getting Modern Warfare 4 this year. So the game that requires secure boots will be able to be played on the Switch 2, but not on the Steam machine. I will still be able to play the games that I want to play, however, but it does suck, because you would think that this box should provide the freedom that you would get on a desktop PC, but you're still limited, even though it's supposed to be a PC. It's very disappointing, but that is like my main issue with the Steam machine. And I've seen so many comments about, yo, hey, can this work on the Steam machine? Hey, can you play Call of Duty on the Steam machine? It's like, yes, you can play older Call of Duty games, but I just want to let this be known that you cannot play modern Call of Duty games like from Black Ops 7 on up unless it gets changed. If there's somehow some way of fix for this, that they can figure out a way to get Black Ops 7 and all the new Call of Duties moving forward played on the Steam machine, that would be great. But as of right now, you can't do that. So with all that being said, my main old question was from the start, who is the Steam machine for? It's going to be for the gamer that is okay with its limitations, is okay with making some sacrifices on certain games to get it to run at a decent rate on the Steam machine. And it's for a gamer that doesn't really care too much about being able to play every game on it, or already has a high-end PC, or already has all the other gaming platforms to where they can play any game they want. And if they want, a little side machine here to play their backlog of games like me, that's what my Steam machine's for. I bought the Steam machine for my backlog of older games, modern games as well, some modern games that aren't super demanding. That's what my Steam machine will be used for moving forward. And, I do get a little worried for how is the Steam machine going to run in year 2028, because that's seemingly when we should be in the next generation of consoles with the PS6, the next Xbox, possibly a new graphics card, GPU, and games are going to be optimized for those and not for this. And it's going to be really up to developers to try and optimize their game specifically for the Steam machine. And it's just going to be one of those things where it's like it could be just stuck in time. So if you don't have it now and you're trying to get it 3 years from now, you're going to be disappointed trying to play those modern games then. But that is my overall thought of the Steam machine, though. That is my official review. And like I said, I think the Steam machine is worth it if you are okay with what I said, with what sacrifices are going to have to be made, with some limitations and restrictions are going to be made as well. But if you are okay with that, then I highly suggest you guys getting it. In particular, I suggest getting the 2 TB one. I know the 500 GB models, though you can save money on that, it is going to be still inconvenience to have to delete and install games, even though that's not a problem. But what if you have slow internet or whatever, whatever the case may be? I know that can be an issue as well, but definitely the 2 TB model is going to be the best thing to do, guys. But that's pretty much it, guys. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Steam machine. Hopefully this gave you guys a whole bunch of answers. I don't know if I might have even more concerns or more good things to talk about with the Steam machine, but I just wanted to let you guys know my review. And if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. I'll definitely try to give you guys my best answer as well. And yeah, but other than that, here at JECS Gaming, like I said, my motto is this: it's positivity and gaming. I just try to keep things positive. I just keep everything on this channel all about gaming and only about gaming. So after this review, it's nothing but positivity and gaming. That's all we're going to be doing on all the platforms and having fun. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm signing out. Peace out, everybody.